16 years ago. There was a couple who had been trying to have a baby for a very long time. After years of waiting, they finally had a child. They named him Saiki Kusuo. At first, everything seemed normal, but that didn't last long. Just 10 days after he was born, Saiki started talking. And by the time he was 1 month old, he could already float in the air. Yes, he could literally levitate like it was nothing. His parents were shocked, but instead of being scared, they were actually amazed. They saw his powers as something special, like a blessing. They didn't take him to any lab or tell anyone about him. Instead, they decided to raise him like a normal child and give him a happy life. And for a while, things were okay. But as Saiki grew older, everything started to change. When he became a teenager, his powers became too much to handle. Even though he could do almost anything, it didn't feel like a gift anymore. It started to feel like a curse. There were many things he couldn't do, even with all his powers. For example, he couldn't use his abilities to win money in a casino because people would think he's cheating, and he could get arrested. And his mind-reading power? It doesn't help him in love or friendships either, because when he reads people's thoughts, they're not always nice or romantic. Sometimes they're weird, awkward, or even annoying. So instead of helping him, it just makes things more uncomfortable. And here's the strange part. Because everything is so easy for him, life becomes boring. There's no excitement, no surprise, nothing feels special. So even with unlimited powers, Saiki feels unlucky. That's why he decides to live like a normal person. He tries to get average grades. He even makes sure to come third or fourth in competitions on purpose just to avoid attention. But things don't get easier. In fact, they get worse. Because he still can't fully control his powers. Sometimes they activate on their own, and that can be dangerous. To deal with this, he uses special antennas on his head. These help him control his powers and stop any accidental damage. But there's one more problem. He has to make sure no one notices them. So at school, Saiki secretly hypnotizes his classmates, so they all think his antennas are completely normal. For them, it's like nothing is even there. One day, the teacher makes an important announcement. The school festival is coming next month. It's called the PK High School Festival. But there's also a warning. The teacher tells everyone to behave properly, because if anything goes wrong, future festivals could be canceled. For most students, this is exciting. But for Saiki, it's the opposite. He doesn't care about the festival at all. In fact, he just sees it as a chance to avoid people and spend some quiet time alone. So he decides something important. He will make sure everything goes smoothly with no problems at all. Because if everything is peaceful, he can stay away from the chaos. After the teacher finishes, another student comes forward. His name is Hiro, and he's the class representative. He says he will plan the class activity for the festival, but in this class, everyone votes. Hiro suggests doing an origami exhibition, but no one likes the idea. Instead, the class decides to collect strange and unique stones from around the school and display them. Yes, rocks. After class ends, something unexpected happens. A strange-looking boy named Nendo suddenly appears behind Saiki and covers his eyes as a joke. This shocks Saiki. Normally, he can sense anyone coming from 200 meters away using his telepathy, but Nendo is different. His mind is completely empty. No thoughts. Nothing. Because of that, Saiki can't detect him at all. So Nendo keeps surprising him again and again. Nendo then invites Saiki to go on a rock hunting adventure. Of course, Saiki tries to refuse. But before he can even finish, another student interrupts them. This guy is Shun. He's very strange. He believes in a secret evil organization that wants to destroy the world. He calls it the Dark Reunion. To avoid anyone listening, Shun takes Saiki and Nendo up to the rooftop. There he shows them a letter. He says he found it in his closet. According to him, the letter warns about an attack during the school festival. Shun seriously believes this is real. He asks for their help to stop this so-called disaster. Saiki, of course, knows this is nonsense, but he pretends to agree just to avoid more trouble. Now, with 1 week left before the festival, things are slowly starting to build up. Later, while sitting at his desk, Saiki accidentally starts hearing a conversation. It's a group of girls talking nearby, and among them is the most popular girl in school, Kokomi Teruhashi. Her friends are telling her to join the Miss PK contest, a competition to choose the most beautiful girl in school. Now Teruhashi acts humble. She pretends like she's not interested and even says one of her friends should join instead. But Saiki can read her mind, and the truth is completely different. Deep inside, she really wants to join, and she's 100% sure she will win easily. Saiki, however, doesn't care at all. He's not interested in her beauty or popularity. And this is exactly what catches Teruhashi's attention, because for the first time, there's someone who is not impressed by her. Later during summer vacation, Teruhashi meets Saiki at a park. She greets him nicely, expecting him to be amazed by her charm. But Saiki just gives a normal, casual reply. No reaction, no excitement. This shocks her. She thinks maybe he was just too stunned by her beauty to respond properly. So she tries again, but this time Saiki completely ignores her. Now she gets even more frustrated. She simply cannot understand how someone can ignore her like this. So she starts overthinking. Maybe she acted weird? Maybe he didn't notice her? To confirm, she tries to get closer and even reach out to touch him, but Saiki quickly avoids her and keeps walking like nothing happened. And then he just disappears. He literally teleports away. Teruhashi is left standing there, confused and a little heartbroken. At first she thinks maybe she imagined it, but then something changes. Instead of forgetting about him, she starts thinking about him even more. Slowly, she becomes interested in him, then obsessed. She keeps trying different ways to get closer to Saiki, but every time she gets rejected. Finally, the day of the festival arrives. In the morning, Saiki is having breakfast with his parents. Suddenly, a cup breaks for no reason. His mother sees it as a bad sign, but Saiki doesn't believe in superstitions. He stays calm and heads to school like usual. His plan is simple. He will secretly use his powers to stop any problems before they even happen, so the festival goes perfectly. At school, the whole class gathers to show the stones they collected. One stone stands out. It belongs to Aren Kuboyasu. It has a strange reddish color. Seeing it, Saiki remembers that Aren used to be a delinquent. He recently joined the school to change his life and become a better person, but sometimes his old habits still show, like imagining normal things as something violent. After that, Saiki quietly moves to the corridor, but of course Teruhashi follows him again. She keeps trying to create coincidental moments so they can be alone together, but she doesn't know one thing. Saiki can read her mind. He already knows every plan she has. Just when she's about to approach him, a group of boys suddenly appears. They introduce themselves as her fan club and start begging her to join the Miss PK contest. While she's busy dealing with them, Saiki sees the perfect chance to escape. In an instant, he teleports away. He appears near a stage where a magic show is about to begin. It's being performed by a student named Urioku. As Saiki watches, he notices something strange. The magician is using his own mother as his assistant. This immediately makes Saiki worried. He feels like something could go wrong, so instead of leaving, he decides to stay and keep an eye on the situation. The show begins. The magician explains the trick. He will be tied up, locked inside a box, and wrapped in chains. He has 3 minutes to escape. After that, his assistant will start pushing sharp blades into the box. Saiki hears this and quickly understands the danger. Without wasting time, he teleports inside the box to help. But the moment he arrives, he realizes something unexpected. The magician has already escaped. Now Saiki is stuck inside the box instead. And there's a problem. He can't teleport again yet. He has to wait 10 minutes before using his power again. So now he has no choice but to stay inside. Suddenly, the magician's mother starts pushing blades into the box. Saiki is forced to move quickly, twisting his body again and again to avoid getting hit. For 3 long minutes, he keeps dodging every blade. Finally, it stops. He survives. But the danger is not over. Next, the box is lifted high into the air using a crane. The audience watches in fear. Then the box is dropped from 30 meters. At the last second, Saiki jumps and lands safely, avoiding the impact. It looks impossible, but he pulls it off. Then things get even crazier. Fuel is poured into the box and it's set on fire. But Saiki quickly freezes the inside, stopping the flames. And just when you think it's over, the final stunt is announced. A steamroller is coming to crush the box. At that exact moment, Saiki realizes something important. His teleportation power is finally ready again. Without wasting a second, he teleports away just before getting crushed. He escapes at the last moment. Right after that, the magician appears back on stage like everything went perfectly. The audience cheers loudly. Meanwhile, Saiki reappears somewhere else, thinking about how close he came to dying. On the other side of the school, Teruhashi finally agrees to join the beauty contest, but only as a judge. This disappoints many boys who wanted her to compete. At the same time, Shun feels frustrated and walks away from the crowd. Suddenly, someone approaches him. They claim to be from the Dark Reunion. They take Shun to a hidden place behind the school. There he meets their leader, Moonlight Butterfly. The leader says something shocking. He claims that Shun was once part of their group. According to him, Shun used to be a powerful warrior. But when he found out about their evil plans, he left them. Before leaving, he even stole something dangerous, the Stone of Destruction. Since then, they have been chasing him. To escape, he used a forbidden spell and turned into a spirit now living inside his own body. Of course, this all sounds crazy, but Shun believes every word of it. The leader then offers him a chance to come back. He says everything will be forgiven. but Shun refuses. So the leader suddenly attacks him with a laser pen. Yes, a laser pen. Then the leader reveals something important. There are 7 special spheres hidden around the school. Each one has the power to destroy their group. That's why they are here to find and destroy those spheres first. They ask Shun to join them, but Shun decides he will stop them instead. Meanwhile, at the festival, Hiro is excitedly asking everyone to join the school marathon. Suddenly, Nendo appears and says he wants to join too. The prize for winning is very interesting. The winner gets 10 minutes alone with Teruhashi. Hearing these things get serious. Saiki, worried about accidents, decides to secretly watch over the race. As the race starts, Hiro runs with full energy. He doesn't even care about traffic lights and almost gets hit by cars. But Nendo surprisingly keeps up with him easily. He even runs while eating canned food like it's nothing. Hiro keeps pushing forward, not ready to lose. To keep things safe, Saiki secretly uses his powers. He changes traffic lights and even moves cars to avoid accidents. But Nendo still catches up. At one point, he casually offers Hiro some canned soup while running. It's weird, but also funny. As they get close to the finish line, Hiro uses a trick. He suddenly shouts that there's a sumo wrestler ahead. Nendo stops to look, and that's when Hiro takes the chance and wins. When Nendo realizes he got tricked, he jokes around and attacks Hiro playfully, making everyone laugh. At the same time, inside the school, Aren finds a letter in his locker. It's from his old gang. They want to meet him. Even though he has changed, he goes to see them. But when he arrives, they don't even recognize him. He finds it funny and tries to walk away. Just then, Shun passes by. The gang asks him if he knows Aren. Shun immediately points at him. Now exposed, Aren tells Shun to leave. Then things get serious. The gang leader suddenly hits Aren with a bat. That's when everything changes. Aren's old fighting instincts come back, and without holding back, he fights them all and easily defeats them. Meanwhile, Saiki is still worried about the festival. He feels like something could go wrong at any time. But before he can focus, Teruhashi finds him again, and this time, she sticks right next to him. Saiki can't escape, so he finally agrees to go with her to the haunted house. He just hopes to find a way to get away later. But things don't go as planned. On the way, Nendo suddenly joins them. This completely ruins Teruhashi's plan to be alone with Saiki. Still, they all go inside the haunted house together. Teruhashi pretends to be scared, acting cute and hoping Saiki will react. But Saiki doesn't feel anything. Thanks to his powers, he can see through walls and already knows where everything is. Nothing surprises him. While walking inside, one of the students tries to scare them, but the moment he sees Nendo's huge chin, he gets scared himself and faints. Yes, the ghost gets scared. Taking advantage of this, the group grabs some props and even dresses up like ghosts for fun. After leaving the haunted house, Saiki and Nendo go to the restroom, and then something unexpected happens. Nendo suddenly grabs Saiki's glasses. This is a big problem, because without his glasses, anyone who looks directly at Saiki will turn into stone. And that's exactly what happens. Nendo turns into stone instantly. Saiki knows it will take 24 hours for him to return to normal, so he decides to place Nendo in their classroom's rock display so no one notices anything strange. Now Saiki has another problem. He needs new glasses. He calls his mother and asks her to bring his spare pair from his room, but she refuses because his room is too messy, so Saiki has to find a solution on his own. He starts searching around the school for another pair of glasses. But while doing that, he accidentally turns a few more students into stone. Things are getting out of control. With no other option, Saiki hides in the gym storage room. But when he enters, he finds Teruhashi already there. She seems to be doing something secretly. Saiki doesn't have time to deal with it, so he asks her to leave. She agrees and walks out. Just then, Saiki notices something outside. Aren is still fighting his old gang. When Aren sees Saiki looking at him, he quickly pretends like he's just lifting weights. But Saiki doesn't care about his excuse. He just wants his glasses back. So Aren gives them to him without arguing. Now that Saiki has his glasses again, things start to calm down. But suddenly a teacher is coming. Saiki quickly uses his powers to fix the situation. He reverses the condition of the injured gang members and lets them escape. Then he warns them not to cause trouble again, or he will expose them. With everything under control, Saiki finally fixes reality and makes sure no one else turns into stone. Now he feels like his problems are finally over. He gets ready to teleport away and relax. But of course, Teruhashi appears again. She invites him to play a couple's game. Saiki refuses and tries to leave. But before he can escape, her fan club shows up. They warn Saiki to stay away from Teruhashi. The situation starts getting intense. To help, Saiki Teruhashi distracts them so he can run, but the fan club doesn't stop. They chase both of them. Eventually, Saiki and Teruhashi end up in the gym storage room again, and this time the fan club locks them inside using super glue. Now, they are trapped. Inside the room, Saiki reads Teruhashi's thoughts, and what he discovers is shocking. Everything was planned. She planned the marathon. She influenced the dark reunion drama. She even caused Aaron's fight, all of it just to keep Saiki away from others. And finally, she made her fan club trap them together, so she could be alone with him. Now, Saiki is stuck with her, and he has to find a way out without revealing his powers. Meanwhile, Shun is busy with his own mission. He collects 7 bowling balls and takes them to what he thinks is the Dark Reunion's secret base. But in reality, it's just Teruhashi's fan club pretending to be that group. When Shun arrives, their leader tries to stop him. He warns that using the spheres will destroy everything, but Shun doesn't listen. He places the bowling balls and starts his ritual. The fake members panic and run away, and Shun is left standing there alone, believing he has finally defeated the Dark Reunion. Meanwhile, outside, Aaron's old gang returns with more members and surrounds him again. Aaron has no idea what's going on. Back in the storage room, Saiki senses the danger. He knows a fight is about to happen, but he still can't leave without making Teruhashi suspicious. So he comes up with a risky plan. He uses his powers to send the entire gang back in time. Just like that, they disappear. Problem solved. But this takes a huge toll on him. Saiki becomes extremely weak and exhausted. His powers start getting unstable, and then things get worse. Teruhashi finally breaks free from the hypnosis. She notices the antennas on Saiki's head. Curious, she starts playing with one and accidentally pulls it out. At that moment, everything goes out of control. All of Saiki's powers are released at once. Around the world, machines start failing. Even space stations show warnings of a possible disaster. Back in the room, Saiki wakes up and tries to hold something, but he accidentally destroys it just by touching it. Teruhashi gets scared and drops the antenna. Now it's lost somewhere in the room. Saiki realizes what happened. One antenna is missing, and that's very dangerous. He asks Teruhashi about it, but before she can answer, everything freezes. The space around them changes. It feels like they are no longer on Earth. The air becomes thin, and it gets hard to breathe. With no other option, Saiki waits for Teruhashi to pass out. Then, using his remaining power, he searches for the lost antenna. After finding it, he fixes everything and brings the building back to Earth. But even after solving this, there's one big problem left. There's no way he can explain all of this to anyone. So Saiki makes a final decision. He uses the last of his energy to go back in time. 1 full day back. Now he has to live the entire festival again. This time, he plans to fix everything perfectly. He must stop every problem before it happens, avoid all the chaos, handle Teruhashi carefully, and make sure everything goes smoothly, because one small mistake could destroy everything again.